It smells like burnt mushrooms.
I'll lick your teeth if you want.
How does one turn on a wand?
Welcome. I'm Kat.
I'm Hunter.
And we are your Fairy Gaymothers Sorta. No, I've had 2 coffees today. That is double what I normally have.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm feeling a little jittery, but mostly locked and loaded.
Mostly locked the in.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Today is a very special episode because we're talking about 2 gay boys in the NHL, otherwise known as the MLH due to copyright issues. Heated Rivalry. Applause sound.
Woo! It's what you've all been waiting for. I know we gave them, they were your bang.
They have been my bang.
But at the time, not all the episodes were out.
No, and now that the series is finished, I have become insufferable tenfold.
And there has been so much more discourse. There's been think pieces. There's been collaborations. There's been interviews. There's been,
people weighing in from outside of the community. Stuff to chat about.
So much to chat about.
But before we get into Heated Rivalry, first we must explain what a Fairy Gaymothers Sorta is, and then who we'd like to highlight this week.
That's me. So, a fairy gay mother, sorta. We've explained it a couple times, and we like to change the definition pretty much every week. So this week's definition, we're going to go with someone who's queer in their being. Queer, that means outside the box. Could mean gay, could mean different than you'd expect. And they are putting incredible vibes into the world, okay? They're trying to make it a better place through vibage. And vibage can be activism, it can be incredible art, it can be comedy, it can be science, it can be so many different things. And we want to highlight someone who encapsulates that to better give you an idea of what we are trying to become. So this week, we've actually each come with a fairy gay mother that we want to give a quick shout out to.
Yes. Kat did give me the brief warning that I know nothing about her fairy gay mother of the week, which is typical because I make it my business not to know anything about men. So why don't you teach me something?
Yes, and I have
against my will.
Yes, and I have chosen a man. I want to highlight, I wish I knew his real name now that I'm thinking about it. Tell the Bees on TikTok and Substack. Essentially, he is a creator, writer. I know him through TikTok. I've been following him for months now. He's gay. He engages with pop culture in a way that is like so relevant, academically thoughtful, and nuanced. It goes from the Real Housewives franchise to Heated Rivalry, he's given a couple takes on, to a series that he does called American Cheating, where people like celebrities have cheated with each other.
Whoa.
But then they get married.
Whoa.
And so the like legacy of their cheating is kind of forgotten because people almost forgive them a little bit more. And it's an excellent series. I recommend watching some of his videos. But truly, it doesn't matter what subject he's covering. I just so admire the way that he's able to take something that, specifically in like reality TV, that people write off as like, oh, something stupid that women like, and use it to reflect on the state of like society and culture as a whole. And just show that like when people say, oh, it's not that deep, like everything is that deep.
There's an account called like It Really Is That Deep that does something similar, but now I'll have to look up Tell the Bees.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal writer. One of my like favorite creators that I have discovered recently. And I really think more people should engage, and I really admire and respect what he's doing. And I
will link him below.
Yeah.
If you want to check out what he's doing. But I feel like that makes a lot of sense for you because Kat's dream is to take something that is, honestly, it could be any concept, and then to redistribute it in a digestible way so that it's accessible to all. So I feel like that's a really great role model for you.
Yes, I love him.
That's perfect. My fairy gay mother actually, so surprisingly, is also a man.
Whoa.
I know, crazy. It won't happen again, don't worry. But Kat and I are actually going to see his show tonight. He's a comedian. His name is Nico Carney.
Love him.
and he is an American comedian. A lot of his work revolves around being trans and kind of being part of the queer community. But just objectively, he's hilarious. He has a very creative and entertaining way of weaving in details from his personal life while still kind of making it into a joke and or like a story that ends with the punchline, and relating to both women having growing up socialized as a woman, but then also now the privilege that comes with being a man. Anyways, he's just hilarious. He has a bit on,
it's like on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like people can look it up on YouTube.
Yeah. We'll link it below as well.
Yeah.
It's like a 14-minute video with like just kind of one of his sets. And it's literally hilarious, and I would recommend everybody listen to it. And we'll let you know how the show goes.
Yeah. All right. Well, jumping from our Fairy Gaymothers of the Week that we wanted to highlight, let's talk about our own journeys to becoming Fairy Gaymothers Sorta. And we do this with our Crash Bit Bang segment. It's really just a place for us to kind of vent about something, perhaps overshare some personal details right before we get into our lesson of the week.
Precisely. Do you want to start with your crash?
Sure, I'll start it with my crash. Heads up to everyone, it's going to get somber, but don't worry, we're going to bring it right back up. So this past week, unfortunately, my cat, Hitchhiker, he did pass away.
In the arms of an angel, fly away from here.
And I also, the same day, had an ovarian cyst burst.
May you find some comfort here, but not with your cyst, because that doesn't sound very comfortable.
Thank you so much for that lovely tribute. In case that gets copyrighted and we have to remove that section of audio, but just take it as a moment of silence, okay? So it was a lot. It was a lot at once. But specifically, apparently it's very common to have an ovarian cyst burst.
Okay. I didn't know that.
I didn't even really know that I had any ovarian cysts.
Okay. Well, and didn't you, in your CT scan recently?
So yes, I did have a CT scan recently. Different story. Everything's totally fine. It looks like I potentially have an ovarian cyst on my right ovary.
Okay.
This was my left side.
Oh.
So that was really interesting. But I wanted to spotlight this because we don't talk about women's issues enough, first of all, and especially not women's health.
In society.
In society. We talk plenty about women and their issues. But in society, like specifically when it comes to reproductive health.
Yeah. There's truly no education that's given to anyone, but like specifically young women growing up and then like getting into their menstrual cycles and being sexually active. There's not a lot that's given to you. You have to do external research, and even then you have to know what to look up.
Yeah.
And even then there's no funding in women's health research. So there's not much to go off of.
I think recently there was just a study that discovered endometriosis in men.
Really?
And
that'll be cured in 3 weeks.
Exactly. Everyone's like, hallelujah.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah,
They'll find a cure.
Thank gosh. One white man will be affected and we'll have a cure immediately.
Yeah. Because when it comes to like periods and menstruation and all that, genuinely, I don't have it that bad right now.
Right.
Like my period's pretty regular. I have like cramps on the first day and then I'm not bad. Like there are so many women who have
suffer a lot worse.
So much worse.
Right. Not that that's enjoyable either.
Having a period is not enjoyable, period.
As an experience.
Anyway, I had no idea that I had an ovarian cyst. Basically, it was this crazy intense pain that eventually passed, but I had pain then for the next 3 days that was nowhere near as intense, but it just felt bad. And I ended up, like looking up what it could possibly be because it was a snowstorm. Like we weren't driving to a doctor and it was also New Year's, so it didn't matter. And I made my mom talk to her friend who is works in radiology. And I was like, how common are ovarian cysts rupturing?
Yeah.
And she was like, extremely common. They're incredibly painful. And then the pain afterwards is because your body then has to like reabsorb the fluid that it's just let out. So depending on how large the cyst was,
right,
like the larger the cyst, like the more painful the rupture is.
Oh, good.
And she's like, and we just like, there's really no treatment for it. Like you just kind of have to live with the pain. And I was like, oh, good. Good. So glad that the medical community is doing so much for women.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable.
It's
really.
unbelievable. Yeah.
Would like to give a brief shout out to, this is not specifically around young women and menstrual cycles, but more specifically around menopause. But if you were to look up the Sinai Health Foundation, they do have a Center for Mature Women's Health, and it's actually doing great work for like all women in the Toronto community. You can go in and speak to a doctor, I believe, about like different menopause quote unquote symptoms that you're having, because both for menopause and the menstrual cycle, like a lot of symptoms that we just accept and are like, oh yeah, like I get these horrible cramps or my face like blows up in acne. None of those things actually need to be happening.
Yeah.
Nor are they actually normal from what I've read, that those are like extreme reactions to your menstrual cycle, and you should be speaking with a doctor to try and fix those. But I understand that like doctors are so dismissive. Male doctors don't necessarily understand. But anyways, just look them up. We'll link them below as well.
Yeah. On that note, I would like to give a really brief shout out to Vanessa Oli Wellness. She is a family friend. This is not sponsored. This is not a collaboration. She has no idea that I'm shouting her out right now, but she has really incredible content on specifically like menopause, menstruation, and how we dismiss so much of like the horrendous symptoms as like that's just a part of life with a uterus and helping people find resources and like lessen their pain, like make sure that their overall health is kind of optimized so that they're not suffering as much. So
that's amazing.
A couple resources.
Yeah. Especially because there's a lot of people with a uterus that are either embarrassed to reach out or don't even know where to start, or don't necessarily have like elder people with uteruses in their lives who can kind of share some wisdom. So to have that so accessible and available for people is such a slay.
Yeah. So we'll link to both the Mount Sinai Health Foundation and Vanessa's pages where you can find her. And I believe she has a podcast as well that you can listen to.
Oh my gosh.
We'll give a little shout out
giving
over
y'all
here.
Resources left and right. For any man listening, also read up, because you should know this for the women in your life.
Yeah.
Or the people with uteruses.
Yeah. Be a good ally. Okay. Okay. Hunter, what was your crash out?
I was watching all of these like 2025 Christmas hauls on TikTok. All of these really rich people getting absolutely ridiculous gifts, like a Tiffany bracelet that was $9,000, 9,000 American dollars as a stocking stuffer. Like just insane. And then someone was like, I saw one girl post and she was like, realistic Christmas haul, and it was still $3,000 worth of products. And like, I don't know about you, but that isn't realistic for me.
No.
And all the comments were kind of saying the same thing. Like, hey, you're still in a tax bracket above most of us here. But it got me thinking into all of the ridiculous things rich people do with their money. Anyways, this is specifically a call out to Benny Blanco. Okay. And I want nothing to do with the rest of it. I don't want to talk about his marriage. I don't want to talk about his music. I just want to talk about the fact that he pays hundreds of dollars to get a professional nail artist to do his toes in the most disgusting ways possible. He had a set of toenails that looked like real skin with pimples and pus. He had a toenail that had a full iris, eyelashes, everything painted on it. And this nail artist is incredible. I am not shaming her whatsoever. She has immaculate talent, and she does, I believe, many celebrities. So this is no hatred on her, but like, you, Benny Blanco. I can't afford my student loans, but you're out here getting pimples drawn on your nails. Thank you. That was all.
I didn't even take a breath while you were telling that story.
Me neither.
Wow. What's happening in my brain right now is like I have so many questions, yet I don't want to give it another second of thought.
Like, I really want to show you. Do you want me to show it to you now?
No, yeah, actually I do.
Yeah, you do.
I don't do toes. This was a special request. Now, the other video went through some of the iconic looks like the zit toning.
No.
And the nail artist does not do toes. That was a special request from Benny Blanco, which I'm assuming would cost extra money. Or just using your influence for that.
That's crazy.
Sorry.
Like,
I just... I actually have talked about it way too much.
Like what you were listening to right now is a live crash out.
It's a live crash out. Yeah, truly.
Okay, we're taking a deep breath together. Release.
Moving on. Why don't you let me know your bit?
My bit. This is a super quick one. I finished watching I Love LA, but there's one line that has stuck with me, and it's a man on the subway, and he's holding a rat. and the rat whispers in his ear. And he's talking to two of the main characters. And it's just, my rat thinks you look like sluts. And all that's been going through my head recently is my rat thinks you look like sluts. Anytime someone's like doing a fit check or anything, like they could be wearing whatever.
Look like sluts.
My mom goes, how does this sweater look? I go, my rat thinks you look like sluts.
Rachel Sennett, the mind that you are.
What was your?
I get a lot of like feminist posts, like women's rights, gender studies, like a lot of stuff like that, because obviously I engage with that. I'm very educated.
Yes.
I'm very
Activist, very feminist.
Very feminist. Well, misandrist, if we're being honest. But anyways, there kept being comments like, but if a guy said this about a girl, but if a man said this, but if I were to say this about my girlfriend, like shit like that. And some girl just responded, but if a mouse said this about a Kia Sorento. What? But also that's incredible. So now anytime like someone says something like, okay, but if a man were to say this, I can't help it but say like, but if a mouse said this about a Kia Sorento. And also my rat thinks you look like a slut.
Because those are the mice are in those commercials. Those are always the commercials that have the mice driving them. Oh my God,
that makes
didn't
so much sense.
Right,
no, it didn't click to me either, because I was like, what is the comparison between a mouse and a Kia Sorento other than the fact that the mouse is clearly the man and the Kia Sorento was the woman?
Yeah. Which, like, I could be lying. Like, they could have been hamsters.
Watch them be like gerbils.
Yeah, and it could be a completely different car brand or something.
But even if you're not lying, like, that's incredible that some girl dug this out of her brain.
Those are the two genders, actually.
Mouse and Kia Sorento. Anyways, that was my bit.
That was good. That will carry through.
And what's your bang?
My bang is the New York Times games.
Yes.
We know I'm obsessed. I play.
She pays for it.
I pay for it. Like I be playing them. I be playing the archive. I be playing the daily crossword, not just the mini.
Got a streak. Yeah.
They came out with crossplay, which is essentially their version of Scrabble.
Okay.
And it's been out for a while, but I got an invitation from my sister and I was like, oh, you know what? I'll download this. So my mom, my sister, and I have all just been playing each other. And quite frankly, this is a humble brag. I have beat their butts.
I believe it.
Beat their asses. I played a word today that was worth 102 points.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, there have been plenty of close games as well, but I just wanted to brag because we talked about
bragging is in 2026.
Bragging being in.
And you should brag.
And I'm good at word games. So anyway, I'm just really enjoying crossplay and
winning. And brag about it.
What about your bang, Hunter?
Again, it was a comment that I saw on a TikTok. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to start beef with anyone. So I won't mention the couple that they're talking about, but it is a white couple that does couples content mostly. I believe they're married. So it's just like, this is what it's like to be white and married and rich. Like, which was, I assume that's what they're saying in their videos. Someone commented, I guess they had left a hate comment on one of the posts. And then 2 posts later, that same account pops up and they have another comment and they say, I would like to apologize for the earlier comment I made on this post. While I cannot stress enough how much I do not like your content and think everything about it is materialistic and shallow, I should not have gone after the low-hanging fruit of your facial spacing. Also, your husband is gay and I've never been so sure of anything in my life. I was probably laughing for like 5 minutes straight, like no breath in, like just wow.
And you know what? That is the perfect example of being a hater with nuance. With nuance and critical thought. They recognized they took it too far.
Yeah.
They took it outside of the subject matter. It's completely valid to say, I don't like your content because it's materialistic and vapid. Yeah. But I apologize.
I apologize for talking about your facial spacing. That was a low blow.
But then be real again at the end.
Yeah. But then what I should have said was that your husband is gay, and I really believe that.
Yeah.
No, it was just that I've never been so sure of anything in my life. And I clicked the profile. There's no information about them. Like, it's a black screen. Like, there's nothing. I was like, who is this savior?
It's Wendy Williams.
Denial is a river in Egypt. Your husband is gay.
Denial is a river in Egypt. Your husband is gay.
We have so many good sayings to take from this.
We do, yeah.
Yeah.
please adopt them for yourself as well.
Yes, please do.
But please at least leave us a like, okay?
Leave us a like and a comment, like my favorite mouse on Kia Sorrento.
Please comment below what your favorite saying that you're going to take away from this video is.
Or even call us a slur. The comments help. The engagement is everything.
Yeah, you could say, I hate this. And we will reply, thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate and value
your engagement. Thank you.
All right, now that we've done our crash fit bangs, those were just that was our weekly journey.
Yes.
We should get into the lesson. And so, Kat, why don't you share with the audience what the lesson is today?
Okay. If we're being truthful here, we just wanted to talk about Heated Rivalry.
Yes.
And we were trying to figure out how to sum up kind of what our lesson was from like the discussions that we've had, what we've read about, like what we've talked about with friends. And we've come up with Know Thy Frenemies. So, heated rivalry, enemies to lovers, but were they really ever enemies in the first place?
Since before rookie season.
Yeah. But it's about people being pitted against each other, quote unquote, and being able to see past the opposition that's set up and being able to connect in a genuine way. And that heated rivalry is a good vessel for kind of the conversation about genuine allyship and representation and performativity. Should we give a brief overview of what the show is about?
Yes. Okay. I did mention this on one of our previous episodes, but it's basically two professional hockey players. One is Canadian from Ottawa. One is from Russia and playing for Boston. Throughout the course of like 10 years, they start by hooking up and eventually it turns into more and it turns into a loving relationship. But because they're both public figures, there's some complications there in terms of coming out, and then on top of that, because they were both two of the best players in the league and they started at the same time or were drafted in the same year, they've had an intense rivalry, especially because Boston and Montreal have, like, those two teams have an intense rivalry, so they've been pitted against each other. So there's also a complicated obstacle there when it comes to public perception of them. So it's just them figuring out that relationship, coming to terms with the fact that they have feelings for each other, what that means, and the show really explores that over the course of 6 episodes.
Yes.
So if you haven't seen it, would recommend if you're old enough.
Yes. It's quite graphic.
It is graphic. But the show, the book, actually it's a book series first. And while that book series was popular, I do believe it was mostly or predominantly popular within the book community, like people who reviewed books, people who read books, especially women who read like many diverse genres, like an MLM, man loving man story is not necessarily at the top of Heather's recommendations. But those who, like a lot of people who engage with book discourse on the internet were big fans of Heated Rivalry. Then when the show came out, it was done all by Canadian producers, all of the, I think it's Bell Canada who sponsored the majority of
it's
production.
Crave, which is owned by Bell.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. And HBO didn't adopt it until later.
Well, they're the distributor in the US. Yeah. They had no part in the production, but they distribute.
But anyways, I've seen a lot of people, and typically the people that I see on social media that I engage with are not crazy nationalistic, are not crazy patriotic, because I think that in order to be progressive and recognize the oppressions that are facing people in society, you have to be critical of your country and its laws and its policies. And so I've seen a lot of people saying that, oh, like, I hope we tariffed the show before the states got to see it, and like, this is what it means to be a Canadian, like, I'm so proud. And it's been irritating me because it's people who otherwise don't give a singular rat's ass about the media, about
politics,
it's literally just like a nationalism thing. And it irks me that they're using this, like, they have no intention of watching the show, of understanding its messages, of maybe applying some of those lessons to their own lives. It's simply because they're like, nah, we're better than the States. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
Truthfully, it does play into the larger political discourse right now. Like, since last January, and the tariffs came into play, there has been, I would say, a surge of patriotism, with the whole elbows up but like, what are you actually contributing, like, politically?
Yeah.
But I completely understand. I find it really frustrating when people won't engage with the show in the first place and just hold it up as like, well, Heated Rivalry is really popular right now, and like Canadians made that. But I think this is a really good case as to why I think rather than people saying, oh, like, this is what Canadians made and it's better, like, we're showing the States. I think it's a better argument to say this was made with Canadian tax dollars and I want my tax dollars to go to arts projects.
Yes.
And I don't need I don't need all of them to be Heated Rivalry level. But if we're not contributing to arts projects, something like Heated Rivalry would never be made in the first place.
Precisely. And if they were willing to bring that to the table when talking about Canadian pride, and I'm not saying that like that there shouldn't be any patriotism. Like we're obviously incredibly fortunate to be born and raised in Canada. One, it's a beautiful country. Like two, we've been afforded many rights that others aren't. Like this is not me shitting on Canada. Okay. But I think if there was that added discourse, I would much rather engage with that. But I've just been irritated by, it's typically older men who I've seen posting this as well, being like, yeah, like in your face, and it's like that. Did you watch the show?
Like you are openly homophobic.
You're missing a lot. I don't know. I feel like it's misplaced patriotism. Definitely. I think it's totally valid to be proud of something that we've done. Like I think it's really cool that Canadian storytellers were able to create this show. I just don't want to hear it from you. You know, like. Anywho.
Yeah. On that note, I think this is probably relevant because I saw a clip, and I don't know if it's from this year.
Okay.
Of a New Year's countdown on SportsCenter. I believe it was in the States. It doesn't really matter where it was.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I know exactly what you're gonna say.
And it's a New Year's countdown on SportsCenter. They're showing people kissing at New Year's, like going through couples, and there's a main broadcaster who's the talking head while all of this is happening, and then it flashes to two men kissing, and he goes, "Oh my!"
Yeah, live makeouts on SportsCenter. Get into it. Oh, what do we got? We got love in the air.
And you could tell he like catches himself, and I respect that he caught himself. This is not me talking about him.
No, I don't care.
If you go into the comments of that video, it was a lot of men being like, this is an appropriate reaction to have. And I don't care if that's rage bait and you're just commenting it so that people engage with you, because for half of the ones that are rage bait, half of them are sincere. And I just think it's reflective of the fact that like people aren't engaging with the messaging of the show. They are engaging with the hype that it's getting.
Precisely. That's a great way of putting it.
And specifically the sports world and the NHL.
Yeah.
And as someone who grew up watching hockey, playing hockey, truly up until last season, would watch almost every game, like around the league, not even like just Leafs games. Like I could tell you the best player on every team. I knew the stats. Like I was engaged with the league and hockey on such a deep level, and I like genuinely cared so much. And it wasn't until everything started coming out with the Hockey Canada scandal that I really was reminded of the cultural issues with hockey at its core. And as much as Heated Rivalry is a hockey show,
there is minimal hockey in it.
There's very little hockey
in it. It's important that they're professional athletes because of the culture that goes along with that, especially like within athletes, and they kind of have a speech about this in the show where one of the characters who is out and gay is accepting an award, and he says like, I grew up in locker rooms where the thing that they feared being was me. Like throwing around gay is an insult. So it's important that they're athletes and that's the culture they're surrounded with, because that has a huge impact on whether they feel ready to, one, accept themselves, two, come out as a couple. But it's not necessarily, like the show isn't really about hockey.
Like you're not learning anything about hockey.
No.
Which is why it's even more irritating to me that the NHL has tried to latch on to some of the hype, because I believe it was 2 years ago, they banned Pride jerseys, they banned Pride tape, and yes, they banned kind of all warm-up jerseys that have any particular cause. So it's not just like Pride jerseys, but they did specifically ban Pride tape for a while.
And there have been many NHL players who have said, like, this doesn't align with my values, so I won't be participating in, like, whether there was Pride jerseys or... There have been players that have come out and said that they are opposed to homosexuality.
Yeah.
And so... And the NHL there's no punishment, there's nothing, like, it's not... And instead, they just banned all of the jerseys and they banned Pride tape to be like, well, now this is no longer an issue.
Yeah. And plenty of organizations... Because when it comes to Pride nights, it depends on the organization specifically as to whether or not they want to have one.
Yes.
But I've even seen people this year say that they went to the Leafs Pride night and it was a few rainbow streamers and a couple of the players wore Pride tape. Whereas in years past, there would be like drag performers who came out and like
who could skate.
Yeah. And they would talk about like, give a brief highlight of like some queer people in the sport. Like it didn't even have to be like a crazy engagement. And the NHL has just disengaged with that.
Yeah, entirely.
So completely.
And as someone who's completely outside of that discourse, like you were saying, you had such a deep connection to the sport growing up. I have no connection to the sport and I could not care less. I fear it's not for me. But that's extreme. But it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
And even me hearing about the fact that like the NHL has scorned Pride, their message was very clear if even I'm seeing that on the internet because I don't engage with anything regarding the NHL.
Yeah. And I also want to say I really admire the way that Heated Rivalry tackles being gay in hyper-masculine environments. But we also can't treat it as like the solution to homophobia in the NHL because the culture problem in hockey runs so much deeper than just homophobia.
And so much deeper than just the NHL.
So much deeper than just the NHL. I'm currently reading We Breed Lions by Rick Westhead, who is a very well-respected journalist who did kind of a deep dive on hockey culture and wrote an incredible book about it. If you want to know more about hockey culture and its issues, please check it out. But I don't want to get more into the like NHL and its issues. But I think it's kind of the same thing where people are taking this as this is the solution to homophobia in hockey.
Yeah.
And
they're trying to get in on the attention of it.
Yes, the NHL wants like the attention and the viewership.
Yes, precisely.
And I have seen women try to engage more with the NHL online. So like in some ways they're succeeding.
Right.
Personally, I believe that those women will quickly realize that the NHL is not make hockey a safe space for women. That is something that they have shown that they will not prioritize whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I think also as much as we talk about Heated Rivalry being a hockey show, it's about way more than hockey.
Yeah.
And hockey is not that integral to the message of the show.
But because of the attention that it's gaining and the audience that it has, I feel like people are trying to latch onto that so that that attention goes on their organization or themselves as a person, while blatantly showing that they do not align with the values of the show.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, hey, girls and gays, watch this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Spit on you.
And I saw a meme. I don't know if this was put out by the NHL. It could be another hockey team. It could be whatever. But it was of two players who I believe have wives. Like, they may not necessarily have declared themselves straight, but they are at least attracted to women. Like that's at least established. Sure. And they've taken photos of them in like a face-off position and like compared them to Heated Rivalry or something about the tension. And like one, not only is that completely against what the show is saying and or just like what the queer community wants, because hey, we don't want you to put labels on people.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you're just like, gays, like, kind of goes against what we're asking for.
Yeah.
And two, again, it's like trying to get attention by queer baiting in a way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's the proper term. I know that there's nuance within that term, but
it's really close to like rainbow capitalism.
Yes.
Like when companies during Pride are like, hi, gay, here's our rainbow product.
yeah,
Buy
when
it.
Skittles come out as like white candies because they're like, we're giving the rainbow back.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's like, what are you actually doing
for the community?
For the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between allyship and advocacy. And while I would love to keep pushing for advocacy, we're not even getting allyship out of these companies like the NHL that are posting these things because they're not allies. They simply just want the attention and the clout, for lack of a better word. So like I'm not even expecting, it's not even allyship. It's like I don't even get tolerance.
No.
like and that's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
So it seems very hypocritical, and again kind of ties into our title of Know Thy Frenemies, because they're pretending to be friends of this community and just as engaged with the show as you know the queer community is, or I guess just North America in general is, while actively shitting on our faces in every other way.
Yeah.
I think now would be a good time to kind of move into a larger conversation about straight men interacting with Heated Rivalry. I would also love to talk about straight women and then kind of move into the queer community engaging with it, but I do feel like a lot of the conversations I've seen on the internet are being led by straight men. And I know, for example, I've seen several podcasts between two white men also, which it is important to note that one of the main characters, Shane, is Asian. He's an Asian Canadian hockey player. So that's also kind of an important aspect to consider, which is not being talked about at all, actually.
No.
And so I've seen these like two white straight men on their podcast talking about Heated Rivalry. And it comes across to me sometimes as condescending, because it's almost like they're reading certain passages as a joke or like to laugh at, or because like all the girls love it, like quote unquote.
Yeah.
It almost seems like they're engaging with it in a way that is mocking its message, or just like the show in its entirety. Or they're only focused on the smut of it, the graphic sex scenes, which again really isn't what the show is about.
No.
And honestly, the only episodes that are pretty graphic and focused around sex are the first two episodes.
Yeah.
Because those are the episodes in which they begin to start sleeping together. But then from episode 3 onwards, there's a huge
shift.
Character development, huge shift, like huge like emotional driven story. It's really not about the smut at all. But I think that because it was quote unquote taboo and scandalous, that's what straight men are engaging with the most. And it just goes into that like hypocrisy of,
and it fits in with the like stereotype that like gay men are promiscuous.
yes, exactly.
So it was like, oh, this fits with how I see gay people.
Precisely.
And look, I'm watching, I understand you.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, I can admit that these guys are really hot.
Yes.
Which like great for you. I wish men were more comfortable expressing attraction to other men, like and not in a way where like that makes them gay. Like I feel like women, like the patriarchy doesn't put pressure on women in the same way, so they can say like, oh my god, my friends are so hot, my friends are beautiful,
my friends are gorgeous. Yeah.
And when men say that, like it's a joke. It's a joke through like my boys are sexy. Like
it's always like turned mocking, or it's like a phrase that they say and they joke around, and the joke is that it's quote unquote gay.
Yeah.
Like the being gay is the joke in that scenario. And so, and also to the fact that it's two conventionally attractive, physically fit men who are English speaking. Like there's a lot of things that allow it to fit in within homo nationalism. And so, which to kind of like break down into an easier explanation is just that, like, we'll use North America as the primary example for this, but there is a certain now gay that is acceptable to North American society, but you still have to kind of follow along with the other American dream values such as, you know, getting married and having kids and getting a house and building your career. And so I think that because the two actors in this show are fitting within that homo nationalistic view, it's easier for straight men to engage with it, but it's still not removing the mocking aspect of it.
No.
Like, they still have to separate themselves from the queerness of the show.
Yeah. Like, I'll say for Empty Netters specifically, that's one of the podcasts where, like, they are a hockey podcast. I think they also fall into the category of using the hype around the series for views, like to get people to engage with their content. They are very much playing up the fact that they are watching the show.
Yes, absolutely.
They also are very misogynistic. Like, I'm pretty sure in one of the episodes they call Svetlana a puck slut.
Oh my gosh.
Where, like, you know, if you watch the show that, like, her dad was a professional hockey player.
Yes.
That's why she engages with the sport, not because... And I actually don't even want to let myself crash out about this as much, because that ties into the whole hockey culture and, like, misogyny in general in hockey spaces. But I think that's what you're saying, and, like, where my frustration with straight men talking about it is because, like, it's not helpful if you are, oh, maybe I'm not homophobic anymore, but you're still a misogynist. Like,
those things go hand in hand, actually.
Yeah.
Because a lot of homophobic views, specifically around men, are rooted in misogyny. Like, it's not that you necessarily... I saw one gay man make a video, and he was like, you don't hate me because I'm gay. Like, you don't hate gay men, you hate women.
Yeah.
Because everything that they associate with being gay and what's embarrassing and, you know, and not acceptable is the femininity that some gay men present. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess they do, like... maybe talking about straight men in general, like I was specifically talking about podcasts, so they do kind of fit in with that, organizations that are trying to hop on the bandwagon. Also, how irritating is it that this entire show is about two men who fall in love, and you're talking about the one character that you think is a puck slut?
Yeah.
Like, no commentary on the relationship,
no,
the love between them, the sacrifices they have to make.
Also, like, the genuine friendship between Svetlana and Ilya.
No, Svetlana's an incredibly complex character.
Yeah.
Who serves, like, has her own kind of place in the show and serves as a place of support for Ilya, which is one of his biggest issues and obstacles, is that he doesn't have that support in his life. Like, Svetlana, I love her, ride or die.
Yeah.
And I think that there are a lot of things as a straight person that you could learn from this show in terms of how to show up for the queer people in your life, and also to maybe a little bit of an insight of what they go through. And because hockey culture is something that a lot of straight men, especially in Canada, engage with, seeing, like, a queer relationship play out in that setting should give you kind of an idea of what these people are going through and how your culture that you participate in is prohibiting that from blossoming.
Yeah.
And yet I'm seeing none of these lessons learned. And it's just, again, hopping onto that attention bandwagon as opposed to being an ally to the queer people in your own life, or wondering how you contribute to homophobia.
Literally, I have not seen, and it doesn't mean that that hasn't happened, but on the Empty Netters podcast, or any podcast in general, I have not seen a clip of a man who plays hockey or in general is part of a hyper-masculine setting like that, who has genuinely reflected on their experience and said, I wonder how I've contributed to that culture. This show is making me think about in my youth at the jokes that are being thrown around a locker room, like locker room talk that's so normalized. I wonder if any people I was in those locker rooms with were secretly hiding something like that.
Yeah. And how did I make them, like, how did I let them down by making them uncomfortable to share that with me? And make no mistake, there is certainly minimum one gay hockey player in the NHL.
Yeah.
Statistically, there's gotta be.
Well, I mean, Luke Prokop is the only out gay player. He currently plays in the AHL, but he was drafted by the Predators and now is under the, like, Oilers, playing for their AHL affiliate.
Right.
So there is one out gay player.
Yeah.
Statistically, there's gotta be a lot more,
or at least, like, queer people. It doesn't have to be a gay man in, like, on a team. It can just be queer people even within the organization.
Oh, there are tons of
queer people within
yeah.
the organization, and sports has been exclusionary to queer people for so long.
Mm-hmm. I'll say men's sports.
Yeah, sorry. Wait, let's reel it back. Yeah. I see you, WNBA. I see you, PWHL.
Yeah.
I see you, rugby.
Yeah.
But in men's sports, yes, sorry. Yes, like there's got to be a gay NHL player, and as someone who grew up watching like straight couples, like I can tell you how much representation has mattered to me. Like even watching Heartstopper at the ripe age of 20 years old, like being an adult, I was like sobbing in the club.
Yeah.
Because it's such a beautiful story, and to see that without people either dying or it being like a traumatic coming out story was incredible. And so those people in the NHL who are queer, like having that representation matters. And so to just engage with it as a joke, like you're not making the space any more accepting for those people, which would be the ultimate goal of the show.
And I think that's a good transition into talking about the show as representation, because I have seen a lot of discourse, and we don't have to get into the whole Jordan Firstman of it all, talk about how it's actually not good representation because, like Jordan Firstman said, that's not how gay people have sex or that's not how it happens. And I think that's something that always annoys me when it comes to queer stories and criticism from queer people. I think that there's absolutely a place to say this story is not representative.
Yeah, Love, Simon. Perfect example of a gay movie made for straight people.
Well, I think that's different, is what I was going to say. I think there's a place to criticize, like, this is something that is gay, that is watered down or clearly trying to appeal to a straight audience.
Right.
Versus being able to acknowledge, okay, this is not my experience.
Yes.
But it's someone else's. And I feel like that's where so much of the nuance in the criticism was lacking.
Yes, that remark to me came across as like a straight man comment. Like I'm like, okay, so you don't this way. Like that doesn't mean that this doesn't happen for other people. And to be policing your own community for what sex needs to look like.
In the same vein, it's queer people don't have to like the show. It's fine.
No.
It's fine if they don't like the show.
Yeah. This creator on Instagram was talking about how a lot of criticisms that he's seen from queer people on the show surround Shane's parents and their reaction to his coming out, and just how it was relatively positive and it was a quick acceptance. And, you know, he has that like touching moment with his mother outside. And he was saying that a lot of the criticisms that he saw were more based in a wound that hadn't healed from their own coming out experiences. Just that like they may not have had the most positive coming out experiences, as many queer people don't. And I think that seeing one that went positively, a lot of the criticism was like, well, that doesn't happen, or where's the trouble? And
where's the trauma?
Where's the trauma? And his point was just that I think that might be a wound that we collectively need to heal so that we can see these positive coming out stories and expect that from people moving forward.
Yeah. Because it doesn't have to be traumatic.
No, in fact, it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be traumatic.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big, I don't know, I almost want to describe it as like a hard pill to swallow for some queer people, that not every queer story has to be a representation of your trauma.
Yeah. I think maybe people are defensive because it feels like it negates the hardships that can come with being queer.
Yeah.
And it brushes over that potentially.
Yeah.
But I would think that ultimately the goal would be that those hardships are not there anymore, and it's okay that some people do come out and don't experience like discrimination from their family or friends, or have just like a positive coming out experience, and that doesn't negate the fact that it's still hard being gay.
Yeah.
And maybe this is a good time to talk about the positive aspects of the show, but I asked one of our dear friends, Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Love you, Matt. Who's an Asian gay man, so I wanted his perspective on the show to kind of send me some thoughts. And he sent them through, and I figured maybe we could read through them. Okay, so first thought from Matt, and this goes along with what we were talking about it maybe not being a tragedy, but he just said that featuring queer relationships that aren't tragedy was incredible because often these relationships are most likely ending in a tragedy, whether someone dies from an illness or for another reason. So it's healing to see it without that bury your gays trope, which, as a side note, like bury your gays trope is just something that describes how most gay characters in media are either killed off in some traumatic way. Anyways.
We'll get into that in more
in
detail.
A different episode.
Yeah.
So another one, he said, also being an Asian gay man and seeing an Asian main lead is also refreshing because we're often categorized as sidekicks or running gags. But this show beautifully shows that seeing someone else who is like you in media can be such a great way to inspire people to take up space, to be bold and be loud. The sentimental feeling of hope that this show has brought is so immense. I honestly felt like I can believe in love again and to not be afraid to show who I am and love loudly. And that eventually everything will align. That's literally so sweet.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Next thought was to be loved is to be seen. Again, just going back to seeing people yearn and wanting to love. It's almost like you don't see that anymore. Yes, there was the sex, the intimacy, and the lust, but you often forget that humans have feelings. The show did such a beautiful job of having these characters take care of each other without explicitly stating what they need. And also queer relationships are being treated with such tenderness and softness that was so healing. That's so sweet.
I wanted to say, I read an interview where Hudson Williams, who plays Shane Hollander in the show, talked about Rooney Mara's character from Carol being an inspiration for how he played Shane.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if you've seen Carol, but it doesn't matter if you have or haven't. For the audience out there, a key part of Rooney Mara's character is in the silent moments, and anytime she looks at Carol, it almost looks like she's going to cry.
Aww.
Like there is such a deep yearning, and I know we've made jokes about yearning before, but part of the queer experience and having to process your feelings for someone in silence means that you spend so much time thinking about them.
Yeah.
Essentially yearning for them and imagining what life would be like. And you see that so clearly in their portrayals. Like everyone talks about the sex, and I think that's what changed for me after the first 2 episodes.
Yes.
Was that you see, whether or not it shows up in the dialogue, you see it in the small moments where they care for each other.
Yes.
Like you see it in like the tuna melt scene.
Yeah.
You see it in like Ilya comforting Shane when he's like breaking down trying to talk to his parents. Like you see that deep understanding that often has to go uncommunicated, or often does go uncommunicated because queer people don't know how to talk about their feelings.
Right. And they've also been conditioned that it's not acceptable to talk about their feelings because their feelings are wrong.
Exactly.
Same with like Hudson
Williams.
Thank you. Hudson Williams has said that he intentionally played Shane Hollander as an autistic character. And I believe Rachel Reed, the author, and Jacob Tierney, the show creator, have all kind of agreed on the consensus that that was an integral part of his character. And the way that Ilya cares for him in a way that suits his needs of the moment is so sweet and so considerate. And just, you know, that's it. That's all I have to say. It was so sweet and so considerate, so lovely.
I really like that Matt called that out as well. Because that was something that that hit very close to home for me while watching the show. And I agree, especially with 2 men, like with MLM relationships. I feel like you don't often get a portrayal outside of like fan fiction of like a genuine tender love that doesn't end in tragedy.
Because even Fellow Travelers, which was a show that came out a couple years ago, I believe, and has just as much like explicit sex scenes and 2, I believe, queer actors, it has a tragic undertone, and a lot of the care between the 2 of them is kind of focused around their physical intimacy. Whereas in this, I think most of the, even though it was in secret, like their relationship, all of the moments that you see with them together, especially from episode 3 onwards, is not about the, oh, like we have to be secret, let's fuck quick.
Yeah.
It's about them caring for each other and building a relationship. Like the secret part of it is not what they're focusing on in their quality time together.
Yeah.
And so like you see them building a real relationship as opposed to like the suspense of, are they going to get caught?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then lastly, he said the human connection of the show, because this show pieces together themes of life, acceptance of yourself, external factors that affect how you act and communicate, finding comfort in other people, self-regulation and handling complex emotions, the importance of communication, love, and so much more. No one is perfect, and the flaws of humans make this show so real. We are given layered characters that have their stories, and navigating their experiences is real because we all just have to do it. Simply, wow.
Very well said.
Yeah. Honestly, don't have much else to kind of note on that.
And thank you for sharing, Matt.
Yes, thank you. Huge shout out to you. Yeah, I feel like there's not much else to say on that. I think Matt kind of summed it up wonderfully. And to see how it's resonating with like a queer Asian man, I think is like an important perspective to have, and probably not one that I've been hearing enough. Like it's mostly just these white dudes on podcasts.
Yeah.
And so thanks, Matt, for sharing.
Yeah. I did also see Colton Underwood from The Bachelor.
The Bachelor!
Who has since come out and is now married to a man. And I think they have a child.
Good for him!
As well. He posted something on Instagram about like his perspective on the show. And I think his was really interesting to read because he acknowledges that he comes from a very hyper-masculine background. And
being the Bachelor,
I think that's a pretty hyper-masculine setting.
Where you're dating, what, 24 women or something?
Something like that. And that kind of acceptance that goes along with it. And yeah, I don't know. I think it doesn't have to be entirely representative of someone's story, but there is something in it for so many people.
Yes.
And I do want to give a shout out to Jacob Tierney because this is not his first project. Like he's the co-creator of Letterkenny and of Shoresy as well, I believe.
Oh, no way.
And he's got a very decorated filmography as well. Like if there are two things that Jacob Tierney knows, it's being gay and hockey. So like we have a decorated veteran at the helm driving this ship.
Yes. Which I think is so important because a lot of the criticisms were like, oh, this book is about yearning. This is a sapphic story. Or like, this isn't how gay people fuck. Keep in mind, the captain of this ship himself is a veteran gay.
Yeah.
We did kind of brush over not talking about the straight girlies perspective of this show. And that's mostly because, one, I don't care. No, I'm kidding. It was just that I feel like there's been a lot of talk about that, a lot of discourse about why straight women are resonating with this so much, whether that be like sexual preferences or just like attraction in general, whether it be about like the affinity for romance and the larger demographic that romance reaches. And it could be all of it, could be none of it. It doesn't really matter. I think that the only thing that I really wanted to touch on there was that as passionate as these women are being about this show, like, and, you know, and their viewership is giving us that second and third season. Like that second and third season. For listeners, I just lifted my pointer and middle finger.
Total of two fingers.
But like, I want straight people to watch the show. I want straight women to enjoy it and, you know, resonate with different parts of it. But I want that same energy being applied with your real queer friends and with the people you interact with in your life. Like, I don't want to hear you raving about how much you love the show if you have a homophobic boyfriend. Yeah. Like, I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
Or if you just view the like funny hookup stories that your gay best friend is telling you as like gossip, as opposed to really respecting the emotional aspects of their relationship.
Yeah.
I had like many a times And I was talking to someone else recently who said they experienced the same thing. But we were talking about how in our queer relationships, and he's a man dating a man, I was a woman dating a woman, like our straight friends would go on these like double dates or do couples activities and we would be excluded from them. And it's not like an intentional malicious thing, but it's just that they view your relationship differently than they view a relationship between a woman and a man. From my experience, it was just like, oh, well, she's like one of the girls. And it's like, okay, but she's actually not. She's my girlfriend.
Yeah.
So I want that same passion that you're bringing to Shane and Ilya to be spread to all the other queer people in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're treating the gay people in your life as accessories,
eat glass.
Eat glass. Maybe check yourself. If your passion for Heated Rivalry does not extend to your passion for advocacy, check yourself.
Check yourself. Know thy place, bitch.
Forget know thy frenemies. Know thy place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like overall that was kind of, unless there's something else that you wanted to speak about, but I feel like that was what we kind of had to say about Heated Rivalry.
Yeah.
I'm eating it up. Can't wait for seasons 2 and 3. I will be reading the second book about those characters, The Long Game, simply because I hate surprises and I don't want to be blindsided by a third act breakup. Can't wait. And for everyone who is engaging with this show, be an ally and an advocate or shut up.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
I think the takeaway here is that clearly there's an appetite for diverse stories.
Yes.
And I really hope to see more diverse stories being told. And I hope to see a wider audience be exposed to those and also enthusiastically engage with those projects.
Yes.
And have that enthusiasm reflect into their real life as well.
Yeah. And I think just for people who are interested in the discourse around the show, just be critical about what you're consuming and whose messages you're listening to.
Yeah.
And make sure that you interact with queer creators, their perspective on the show, and fight your homophobic boyfriends.
Yeah.
Claw that bitch down.
Also, like, I'm not going to lie. The pacing of the first 2 episodes, that was dumb.
That was intense.
What do you mean we jumped 10 years in 20
Yes,
minutes?
yes.
That's crazy. The show's not perfect, but
No,
we gotta start somewhere.
There can certainly be criticisms of the show while also recognizing its significance and
Exactly.
where it really shines.
Yeah.
But I would say episodes 3 to 6 are really where the meat is.
Yeah.
I think 1 and 2 is just kind of establishing that they were hooking up.
1 and 2.
Oh my god, 1 and 2.
1 and 2, literal meat.
3 to 6, figurative meat. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. I can't promise that we won't talk about Heated Rivalry again.
No, it'll probably come up again later.
The same way we continuously bring up Wicked, it will now be a new hyperfixation. But thanks for listening to part 1 of our thoughts.
Yeah. And please like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment, leave a rating if the platform you're listening on does that.
Send us an email with your thoughts, death threats. We'll accept anything at this point.
Yeah. Please just talk to us out here.
My IQ is dropping by the second.
Please.
I'm becoming one of them.
No, Pluribus is a different episode.
Bibbidi bobbidi bye.
I'm not throwing it this time.
You got killer